Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Black Expats from all over the world. I'm Dr. Tasha Pierre. I want to welcome everyone today. I know it's been a while, life has come in the way. We did do a big move temporarily to another country, so that's been a lot. So I've been focusing mainly on that, but I had to get back because I missed you guys so much. And there's a topic that I really wanted to talk about, which this move prompted me into actually talking about that. Today we're going to talk about something that doesn't get enough attention, the emotional roller coaster of returning home after living overseas. After spending years adapting to another culture, you can come home and suddenly realize, home doesn't feel like home anymore. Few people talk about this, when they come back. You hear a lot of expats talking about when they do move abroad, how their life has changed, all the good things, how they're adapting, the language, the culture, everything. But you very seldomly hear about people talk about when they've been gone for an extended period of time and they decide to come back to their home country, and how the adjustment is kind of hard. A lot of you know that I have lived abroad for almost a decade off and on, and I come back and forth, but I haven't actually come back to my home country, which is the States, in about a decade. I've been blessed to be able to be abroad with my job majority of the time. And I did come back for a couple of years, and I can truly say it has been an adjustment. I've been here for about a month, and a lot of things, not only myself, but my family is like, oh my goodness, is this normal? It's a lot of things that we weren't used to, that we're going to have to learn to get acclimated into again. And this is our home country. And you would think, oh my goodness, someone comes back to their home country, you're just going to dive right in there and you're just going to go ahead and, have your normal lifestyle. It doesn't work like that, because you got to realize when you leave and you've been gone for an extended period of time, you change. You change physically, emotionally, spiritually, in so many ways. Let's discuss this. Why do people relocate abroad? A lot of people have their different reasons for relocating abroad. Some people go because they feel, hey, you know what? I need a change of space. Or some people go because, financial situations. There's numerous reasons why people move abroad. My reason is my job. My job would take me abroad. And, I was blessed to be able to experience that and still have a viable income coming in and allow my children to experience different cultures as well. So that's one reason why we did go abroad. And then after doing that, I just enjoyed it and we stayed. And, do I regret it? No, I don't. My kids, they were able to experience a lifestyle that I didn't experience as a child. And I was able to give them that experience, which made them be able to go anywhere. They're able to indulge in different cultures. They're able to integrate with different people on different levels. So I am great and happy about that. But I can truly say this move coming back this time has really opened my eyes to say, hey, do you really want to stay abroad, or do you miss your home country? And I can truly say, I'm not going to say I don't. I am happy. I'm happy I did come back, because I do look at some of the positives, and I'm going to go ahead and go on some of the positives for me. This is for me, and some people, I've heard a lot of people, I've watched a lot of talk shows, and they've said a few things the same. They've aligned with what I'm saying. Coming back, I was able to come back and say, hey, okay, I know where to go if I need this. The language, true enough, we've been to multiple countries. Did we learn the language thoroughly? No, we didn't. We learned to get by, because I wasn't in the countries long enough to be able to have to learn the language. Now, if I was going to stay in the country that extended period of time, of course, I would have learned the language. Now, we did buy a couple properties in Italy. That's where I'm planning on settling and retiring. So I am taking courses in Italian. So that's going to be home over half of my year, once I retire in a few years. So, I am actually taking courses to learn the language thoroughly, because it's going to be home. That's going to be my home for a while. But now, if I wasn't there, would I learn just languages just to get by? I would. But it does feel good to be back here in the U.S. And I'm like, okay, I can tell this person, hey, this is what I need, blah, 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 or I know where to go, Also, not only that, Doctor's appointments. That's me personally. I've met wonderful doctors abroad. Don't get me wrong, especially in Europe. I had some great doctors in Europe, but being back in my home country, being able to come, especially I'm a veteran, to be able to go to the VA and get with my doctors here and, they're able to go ahead and, handle situations thoroughly. I do miss that. That's one thing that I am happy about because I'm able to get in here, do what I got to do, and get what I need done, and then get tests, whatever I need to. Because health is wealth, so we have to make sure that we have that good. And I thought I missed the food, guys. I'm gonna say that much. When we got here, I'm not gonna lie, me and my kids, when we got here, we were actually wanting to go ahead and go to restaurants and visit food places, but since I've been back, the food has gotten me sick. And I'm going to say one thing about that. I think a lot of it is, and I love my country. I do. I'm from the U.S. and I'm not on here to down bash my country. I'm not. But do we have a lot of different preservatives, in our foods and different things? Yes, we do. We do. And some of them aren't good, and then a lot of the countries that we've lived in temporarily, the food was clean, Did it take me time to get used to those foods when we were abroad? Yeah, it did, but I got used to it. Because think about it, over a decade, we're eating the same foods for almost over a decade. That's what we get used to. Our body got used to it and accustomed to that. So since we've been back, coming to places, even Chick-fil-A, that's one of the U.S.'s major favorite food chains. I loved it. But Chick-fil-A, no. I couldn't, this time I came back, it just wasn't pleasing to me. Then I tried, I'm daring not trying other places, like the little fast food. I'm not going to name them. I'm not going to name bash or anything, but these little small fast food companies, I won't try those here. But Chick-fil-A, I love it. I'm not going to say it's bad, but it just didn't taste the same. And like I say, the only reason is, I guess, because I was accustomed to different foods, for so long. And the food here is just, it's not pleasing to me. So, what I started doing, I just started cooking. I cooked dinner because we've actually moved into our house. We've been in our house for 2 weeks now. Our furniture has not come from Japan yet. We're waiting for that. It's supposed to come in September, but we're hoping it'll come this month in August because we did get beds or something. We were living off the floor and blow up couches. But we went ahead and got some mattresses now because I threw away our old mattresses. So now we're kind of high and we're living kind of good, but the house is still empty. So we have been in housing for the past couple weeks. So, and I bought some pots and pans, some extra ones. So I said, you know what, let me just start cooking for the family. And I've been doing that. So it's made us feel a lot better. So we're not eating out as much. I mean, we eat out a couple days a week. That's natural. But I've been cooking a lot. And then let's go ahead and talk about road rage. Oh my goodness. Since I've been back, the road rage is crazy, and then it took my son to tell me, it's like, Mom, we used to deal with this years ago. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I'm not used to it anymore. Because believe it or not, I've lived in areas abroad where there were more like small villages where everything was so calm. And I enjoyed that. And I think living in these small villages has made me more at peace. So I like to be in a calm area. I don't like all the hustle and bustle, and that really agitates me. So it's something that I've been having problems getting adjusted to, seriously, but where I'm living right now, the property that we purchased, it's in a really quiet, nice neighborhood, and our neighbors are really nice. So, I did get lucky. So I said, these next couple of years that I'm here, I think I can handle this. So the little area we're in, we're convenient to everything, which is good. So I'm making the best of it, but yeah, it's really been hard, even just talking to family, I've talked to family since I've been back, which is great, but the connection is just not there anymore, and I'm speaking in terms of, and it's nothing in a negative way, it's just the similarities. When you go abroad or you go live somewhere else for an extended period of time, you change. Your whole outlook changes on life, and things that you used to accept back in the day, people that you would just sit up there and say, hey, you know what, it's okay. They're family, or, that's my best friend. That's just who they are. You accepted that. But now, once you've went away and you've become a whole different person, you look at people in a whole different manner. And I'm not saying it in a negative way, but in the space that I'm in right now, I'm in a peaceful, calm space. And anyone who comes in my surroundings has to be that same type of person. They have to bring positive energy to my life. They have to speak positivity. And if they don't, then I'm so quick right now to cut them off. It's quickly. I think I'm solo bolo right now since I'm back in my home country, to be honest. Aside from my kids, that's the only person I talk to, or my husband, but anybody else, it's really hard to connect and align with, because when I talk to a lot of people and I tell them and they realize that I've been gone for over a decade, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you've been gone for over a decade. That's awesome," and it's really hard to go ahead and to adapt, because they ask me questions like, "Oh my God, how long has it been since you've been gone?" And how is it? We want to leave. We're ready to get out of here. And I've gotten that from a lot of people. Believe it or not, everybody that I talk to here and they find out that I've been gone a decade, they have so many questions, so many, like, "Hey, how do I get out of here? How do I plan to move? How do I go here?" And I was really surprised. I know my daughter and I, we went to a sandwich shop about a couple weeks ago, and we met some young girls. They're in their mid-20s, late 20s. And I don't know how we got on the subject, but I know I told them, "Yeah, hey, what's this sandwich? We want to try it. We're new to the area. We just, moved here from Japan." And their eyes just lit up. And when I say these girls had so many questions, they're like, "Hey, we've been wanting to leave here. We've been here our whole life. We're scared. We were told if we go out the country, we might get kidnapped, or, we might get stuck over there." Just a lot of different myths. And I mean, I didn't want to tell them, what something against what their parents told them. But I told them, what? You got to just get out there and you just got to go try it. Take a trip, visit out the country, do little baby steps first, but I was really surprised to see there's a lot of people who do want to leave, but they're scared, and I've had family members that are like that. They've stayed in the same area they're in for their whole lives. And don't get me wrong, some people love that. Some people want that. They want to stay in the same area they're in for the rest of their lives. They want their kids to grow up, where their cousins and family are. And they want that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's other people like myself who say, "Hey, you know what? There's a big world out there. I want to experience it. I want to see it before I leave this earth." And that's what I did, and do I regret it? No, I don't. I am happy to be back, in my country. But would I find myself being here? No, because I think I've changed a lot. I'm not the same Tasha I was over a decade ago when I left permanently for that extended period of time. And I see that since I've been back this time. I'm a lot more calmer. I don't take things serious anymore. I pray constantly, I meditate, I'm a good person all around. I'll truly say that. It has really helped me to be able to travel, abroad and experience different cultures and see how different individuals live. You don't have to be keeping up with the Joneses. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to drive the big fancy car, just to be able to make everyone love you. And I learned that abroad. I learned, the simpler way of life, just being happy and loving your family and living each day like it's your last, is what makes you happy. And that's where I'm at right now. And like I say, since I've been back here, I see exactly what my outlook of life is, And like I said earlier, we don't talk about that. We always talk about when we move abroad, what's going to happen when we move abroad. We're going to change our lives, get out of the country we're in. We're going to be a digital nomad, an expat, the lovely life we're going to live. But we don't talk about when we've done that and then we come back. How do we feel? What do we go through? And you do go through different stages when you leave from out the country and coming back to your home country. I call them stages. There's different stages because you got to adapt. Yes, you feel like, oh my goodness, this is my home country. I'm just going to get right back in there and I'm going to live the life that I thought I would live. It's hard because you got to realize and say to yourself, you know what? I have learned to live a different life. I've created a different lifestyle for myself. I'm a whole different person all around. And God forbid if you got friends that have been here forever and you come back and you try to integrate to get back with those friends. That's a whole different beast. I'm going to tell you that. Because a lot of your friends, the ones who have not left and have stayed, they still have that one track mind to where your mind has changed completely. Your mind is on a whole different level, a whole different level. And I'm not saying it in a negative way, that your friends are doing what they're doing because they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. I'm saying they're just different people right now, just like you are. And you got to realize that and sometimes say to yourself, hey, am I going to be able to adapt to that, to the person they are? Can they adapt to the person I am? The things that might have attracted you a decade or 20 or how many years you've been out the country ago may not attract you anymore. Different things that people did, that you did with people may not be things that you want to do anymore. And it could be little things. You got to take a lot of that in consideration. I always say you got to reintegrate back into your country. That's the way I feel. And I am, I feel like, what? I'm a baby again, trying to learn life again. And what I mean by that is I've come back to my country after a decade and I'm trying to reintegrate again, trying to adapt, trying to learn different things. There's a lot of things that and this may sound funny to some of you, but I keep saying righty when I'm driving because I don't know if a lot of you know, we were in Okinawa, Japan. We drive on the left side. Our wheels are on the opposite side. So that's another problem I had. And this is my country. I've been driving this country for years, but I've been gone a decade and I come back and I'm telling myself, Tasha, righty, Tasha, righty. I'm doing a little better now, but I still do have a little situations because we've only been here a month where I tell myself righty, righty, righty. The other week, which is really scary, thank God, I literally went on the left side of the road and thank God no cars were coming. And I didn't realize it till I saw the sign. I said, oh my gosh, I'm on the wrong side. So I quickly did a turn, but I got used to driving on the opposite side of the road. Now, when I went to Japan, oh my goodness, it was so hard for me. I'm not going to lie, trying to drive on the opposite side because I was used to driving on the right side from the US, but I got accustomed to it. I got used to it, just like my kids. They got used to it. It's just what we got used to doing. And then coming back here and I'm like, this is weird. I'm driving on the opposite side, which is the side that I'm accustomed to because this is my country. This is where I grew up. This is where I learned to drive. But I've been gone away for a whole decade. I'm not used to driving on that side anymore. It's totally different. And a lot of my foods that I've gotten accustomed to abroad, I've incorporated that into my recipes in the home now. That's why I'm so excited about being in my own home now, because we had to stay in the lodging until we were able to get housing, when we first moved here. And now we're in housing. Like I say, our furniture hasn't come, but still I went and got some pots and pans. So I've made some recipes for my food that I get abroad. I love Filipino food. I love Japanese food, I do. And I like to incorporate that in my recipes. And I even went some of the restaurants here and it just don't taste the same. So I said, you know what? I'm going to cook it on my own. So I did cook dinner last night for the first time. And I cooked breakfast this morning, which is really delicious. So I will be cooking a lot while I'm back home for a while, Have I found some pretty decent restaurants? I have. Since I've been here, nothing really fancies my taste bud yet, but I'm not going to give it up because I'll be here for a couple years. So I'm going to, just make the best of it, get acclimated as much as I can and tour, Am I happy to be back in my country? Yes, I am. It's my country, it is my country. It's where I was born and bred. But do I see myself staying here forever? No, it's just temporary. And I can truly say that because I was gone a decade and I told myself, I said, okay, do you want to stay back permanently or do you want to go back to the lifestyle you had? And I do. I enjoyed the lifestyle I created abroad. I enjoyed the friends I created abroad. I just enjoyed everything, the peacefulness, learning and indulging in the different cultures, the language, my mind was always going, and not saying that I didn't do that here back in the States, but I felt it was educational, especially when I took my kids abroad and I took a job assignment abroad for the first time with them. That's where I set up and I told myself, this is going to be educational for them. We're going to make the best of this. Not only is it an experience for them to be able to go abroad and live a different lifestyle and learn different cultures and different languages, but they're going to be able to get an education by learning about the countries, learning about the history. And that's what we did. And I see it in my kids. My kids are adults now. My son just finished his MBA. My daughter, she's working on her master's in psychology. And I see it in them. They are just rock stars. And I pat myself on the back for allowing them that opportunity to be able to grow abroad and see different things, learn different cultures, experience a different lifestyle. I don't regret it till this day. And you can see it in my children. My son just got his first job after, completing his MBA about a few weeks ago. And he said during the interview, when he was talking, he's like, Mom, I didn't even realize it. But the interviewer was like, oh my God, you've been all over the world. She's like, you know what? This would be awesome with you, because you would be able to adapt to different cultures. And I was just in awe. He's like, Mom, I didn't even realize it. My daughter, same situation. She found viable job after she got her undergrad. And now like I said, she's still in grad school. But she said they told her the same thing during the interview. And my kids said that they didn't even realize it until the interviewer told them this, wow, you've experienced a lot, which they have since middle school. They've been living abroad, graduated, abroad. My daughter went to college abroad. So they've had a lot of experience living in a different culture, and I'm so happy about that. And I've given them that opportunity to decide, hey, if this is what you want to do, you've had that chance to live in these different cultures and you've lived in your home country. So whatever you choose to do, you can go there. And I feel comfortable as a mother knowing that if they do decide to go to another country, they're going to be okay because they can live anywhere. Because I've allotted them that lifestyle to learn those different cultures, learn how to adapt, learn how to indulge in the cultures. So as a mom, I wouldn't feel worried. Like I told you early in the podcast about the young girls that we saw at the restaurant that we ate at with the sandwich shop who were saying that they were scared to go out the country because their moms or their parents were telling them, hey, you might get kidnapped, Well, I've shown my kids how to travel. I've shown them the different lifestyles abroad. So they're used to that. They know what to look out for to be safe, and that's why I wanted to get on here and talk about this, because like I say, a lot of people don't talk about that. We don't never really hardly see that. They always talk about the good things when they're moving abroad, how they're planning, what finances you need to have to get together to go, but they never talk about when you do return, how that can be detrimental or how it can be a good thing, especially with your mental health, and I love it now that we do express this a lot about how you need to go seek counseling, how you need to go seek your therapist, especially with me being in the mental health industry. I'm a big advocate for that, and I have a therapist, and this is what I do. I have a therapist and I say to myself, you know what? Now I know what I want to do, especially since I'm on that road of almost retirement, which I'm still young, but I'm going to retire early because I want to live my life. I don't want to retire in my 60s or be older and say, hey, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I want to retire early because I got some life to live and I want to enjoy myself. So I'm going to be doing an early retirement in the next few years. But I know exactly what I want to do. And will I always come back to my country? Yes. This is going to always be home, but do I want to spend the rest of my life here? No, I don't. I think I've been able and blessed, I'll say that, blessed to experience different lifestyles, different cultures abroad to where I'm able to see where I want to go and where I want to plan my life. That's why a lot of people ask me, it's like, why Italy? Why did you buy a home in Italy? Sicily, to be specific. because I visited numerous times when I was living in Europe. It's nothing like where I just went there for a vacation and I said, you know what? Oh my goodness, I love it here. I want to get a home here. I'm going to stay here forever. A lot of people do that when you go on vacation. Vacation mode, your mind is totally different. Now, I lived in Europe and we go back and forth on weekends, and I would go there not only on holidays, just to go. And I traveled all around Europe, and that was one of my favorite places. I always find myself going back. That's why I bought a home there. So I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. I knew about the culture, the rules, the education, the language, everything. So I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. That's why I purchased 2 homes there, and that's where I do want to settle. And like I said, yes, I will be, back and forth to my country because I have family here. This is my roots here. But as far as just living in the States, I really don't think so. Right now, I'll be honest, things have just skyrocketed. And I know it's all over the world. And I've been blessed to be able to find, suitable housing for myself. And then we bought the kids a home. So, if they can do whatever they want with that home as well, to where we're able to live comfortably. And like I said earlier, it's not all about keeping up with the Joneses. It's all about your happiness. I found somewhere where I love, I found a village where the people are just there. They're family. They love each other. You have your little markets, you have your little grocery stores, you take your walks out there by the water in the mountains. That's the lifestyle I want. I don't have to be around all the hustle and the bustle and all the diamonds and the pearls. I just want happiness in life. And that's why I always tell everyone, you find your happiness. You find what makes you happy. What might be good for the next person might not be good for you. But you got to get out there and you got to see. You got to see. It's not going to come to you. You got to get out there and experience the world and take a look and see, hey, do I really want to do this? Because, we always look at YouTube. We listen to these podcasts like me. We watch a lot of things and we see these people living a different lifestyle and we decide, hey, okay, this is what I want. But you can't say that because what might be good for them might not be good for you. So it's best to get out there, experience it on your own, take your time and see, do I really want to leave my country or am I happy where I'm at right now? And the only way you're going to find that out is to go experience it and see if that's the best thing for you. But I'm not going to hold you all up. I just wanted to get on here, something I wanted to discuss. I've been wanting to, but these last couple of weeks, well, actually month, I've been moving from Japan back to the States. So it's been pretty hard, but I will be having a podcast every Sunday. So look out for us again. It might be myself or it might be myself and Chartez. He just finished his MBA. So hopefully he'll be back on with me. But if not, one of us will be on here. But I'm so happy to be back. I love you guys. I hope everything is going good and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.